Hello everybody, this is the Week Trend. Today's movie is called Commandos, or as I like to call the Swedish title, A Hell for Commandos. Let's see how good this little war romp is, shall we? This is Liv and Cleef in Commandos. Liv and Cleef plays the head of a bunch of Americans. They're Italian by origin, so they can speak Italian very well. They have been selected for a mission. They're being parachuted into North Africa, where they are going to take control of a stronghold. They are holding the only fresh water supply in the entire area, and the Allies want this position dearly, for that matter, because they don't want the Germans to destroy the fresh water hold until they can arrive. So they're going to go in under the pretense of their being, relieving the Italian company that is there along with the Nazis, and then they're gonna take control of it. They're basically gonna try to hold this place until the Allies can come and take this location for themselves. So they arrive there, and they're trying to play this charade as them being Italian fascists and stuff like that. And I bet you everything I have and some more that this is one of the movies that Quentin Tarantino watched before making The Inglourious Basterds, because we have a bunch of these sequences where there is really tension there, when they're hiding guns under tables and they're having passive aggressive little conversations, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is the moment where say goodbye to your Nazi balls and stuff like that. But there are some pretty strong connections between those two movies. I like this movie's premise. I like the idea of the movie. The problem with this movie kind of spells atmosphere, because I wanted this to be a rambunctious, silly Italian war adventure, essentially. But this is more of war is hell, and isn't it terrible that we have to fight each other, blah 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 things. And sure, that can work too, but this movie lends itself a little bit too much to, could have been a really good war adventure. And also, who are you going to root for? Because you're having the fake Italians that are taking over from the real Italians. I mean, it's difficult to sympathize with the Germans, but the thing is that they're also having these prisoners that they originally said, we're not going to have any prisoners, we're just going to go in, shoot, guns blazing. But they take control of this place, and they have a bunch of prisoners that get a lot of screen time, and they actually have so much screen time that they're getting their own characters and their own story arcs and stuff like that, and you're starting to root for them maybe a little bit too much. I was more invested in what was going to happen to the prisoners rather than the actual commandos. And that always brings out a little bit of a problem. The finale of this movie is really action-orientated, has a lot of explosions and gunfights and stuff like that, which keeps you invested, even though at this point you have kind of drifted away a little bit and you're not as invested as you were before. And this is also during the point where you have seen the same flashback in which Liv and Cleef on some undisclosed Pacific island is seeing some Japanese guy running towards him, and yelling ah and stuff like that, and you're thinking, well, I've seen that now a bunch of times. Couldn't you have shooting this in a little bit more interesting way? No? Well, fine then, I guess. Liv and Cleef, he's of course awesome and cool. The rest of the characters, well, they're there and they're doing stuff. Should you see this movie? Debatable. I've seen better Italian war movies. I've seen, more impressive Italian war movies and, war films from the 60s. But I think this movie is totally serviceable and has a couple of sequences that I think has a lot of tension to it. If they could have used that a little bit more, and if they could have used the tension they had and used the built-in suspense a little bit more, I think this movie could have been really good. Also, side note, this has annoyed me since 1993, but it bears repeating. I know this movie is made for the Italian market, and I understand that, it's all dubbed, and, American, Italian or German, they all speak Italian. It's almost fine, but why does the Nazis have to sing in German in that case? That's a little... but why though? Commandos has some fairly decent production value, and the acting is, it's there. It's nothing that you're gonna be, you know, wow about. The ending is kind of disappointing and kind of underwhelming, but it still has something that is unique to it. At least it is a unique way of ending this movie. Do I necessarily think that it's a movie that you need to see? No, but if you have 2 hours to spare, why not? You could do a lot worse. And it's always fun to see Lee Van Cleef in full action, looking grim and stuff like that. The production value, as I said, was kind of okay, except for the sequence in the plane. It is such an incredibly small little airplane that they're supposed to have all of these commandos in. I thought like, oh no. That is like, you know, in the circus when the small little clown car comes out and 800 clowns pours out of that one. You're thinking, how the hell did they fit into that little car? In the end, Commandos is a completely okay war movie. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary, but it's there. I give Commandos 51 points. There are moments in this movie that is really, really good, with real attention to it. There are moments in this movie that is really fascinating, and they could have done a lot more with it than what they did. But if you don't have Sergio Leone to do your war movie, then, well, you're just gonna have to make with what you got. I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much, my fucking tailbone.